Hi guys, so I'm gonna read Strange Tales 111. There's two first appearances in this story. Baron Mordo, who's the second most prolific enemy of Doctor Strange, and this guy named Asbestos Man was a really silly villain. Uh, Obviously, asbestos causes cancer, and later on they made like a comic where they brought back Asbestos Man, and he was like he had like lung cancer or something, like like or it said like he had like cancer like 4 times or something. But how can the Human Torch defend himself against the Asbestos Man? My flames don't affect the Asbestos Man. Looks like curtains for my favorite teenager, namely me. Marvel Comics Group ushers in the Marvel Age of Comics. The Human Torch fighting to the death with the Asbestos Man. Plot: Stan Lee. Story: H. Huntley. Art: Dick Ayers. Lettering: S. Harold. What a story! The Human Torch defeated by Asbestos Man. And I've got the pictures to prove it. Is this the end of the Human Torch as a crime fighter? Defeated by a criminal with a brilliant scientific mind? His reputation ruined by the fantastic Asbestos Man? How can the Torch ever again be a factor in the unceasing war against crime? Will the Asbestos Man ring down the curtain on the brilliant career of the Teenage Torch? Your flame is useless against me. You have met your match this time, Torch. I've thrown everything I have at him. In a moment my flame will be exhausted, and nothing, even my most intense flame, affects him in the least. It looks like I'm beaten at last. And now let's begin our unforgettable tale as we find Professor Orson Kasoff walking through the street, deep in thought. Somehow I must find a way to contact the underworld. A scientific genius like myself could turn crime into the simplest and most profitable business in the world. What's going on? Hurry, Frank, we might be able to see him in action. Just a minute. What's all this excitement about? Why is everyone so excited? It's the Human Torch. He just captured a gang of jewel thieves at Oak and Madison Streets. Everybody wants to see him in action. If it wasn't for him, this city would have twice as much crime. He's the best thing that happened here since the World Series. Now let's go. The Human Torch. Yes, I've heard of him. The nemesis of the criminal underworld. I must see this phenomenon in action. The germ of an idea is beginning to form in my mind. There he is. Keep moving, you. The police will be here in a few minutes to take over. Fire. The basic element. Yes, I can see where the underworld would fear the Human Torch. Their weapons could be powerless against him. But others' eyes watch too, bitter eyes, the gleaming, merciless eyes of Blackie Barker, king of the underworld. You said the job was going to be a cinch, Blackie, but look what happened. I didn't figure on the Human Torch button in. I'll give $1,000,000 to see him out of the way. He's already cost me more than that, not counting some of my best boys. What are we gonna do, boss? Here come the cops. We gotta get out of here before the Torch sniffs us out too. Get going. Ain't nothing we can do for the boys now. Step on it. As the police arrive on the scene, another figure also departs. Nice work, Torch. Looks like some of Blackie Barker's boys. The Human Torch, yes. Somehow I can use him. Fit him into my plans. I must think, review the past. And as Professor Kasoff walks towards his nearby lodgings, his brilliant mind runs like lightning over the immediate past, bringing it into focus. Kasoff is a great scientist, the foremost analytical chemist in the world today. We were lucky to get him to work for our company. I imagine he was tempted to come to work for us because of the greater financial rewards to be found in commercializing his scientific genius. Greater financial awards, huh? They pay me a little enough. A man with my great scientific achievements and ability should be treated like a king. I should be as rich as Croesus, but I'm not. Instead, I'm a slave for mere pittance. while they reap the profits from my discoveries. But that will all be changed now. I'll work only for myself from now on. My new chemical, a liquid solvent that can melt steel and iron upon contact. It can melt the company's safe filled with the money my inventiveness had made for them, just as easily as it melted the sink. Yes, that is the answer. Crime. I can turn my great scientific knowledge to crime and become the greatest criminal in the world. Why, I could easily melt the strongest bank vault ever built by my solvent. Pictures come to the evil genius's mind, pictures of the unlimited criminal activities that could be child's play to a man of his abilities. Forgery, How easy for me to create a pen that will electronically mimic a signature perfectly and reproduce it any given number of times. A press that will in the same manner reproduce any bill, bond, or on legal paper. Chemically, I could produce the exact paper and ink necessary. Through chemical gases, I could raid Fort Knox, the treasury of the nation, render the guards unconscious, take what I please. I could pillage the world, steal the most carefully guarded treasures. And so, armed with the solvent and a device to open any door, Professor Kasoff that same night attempts his first crime, the pillaging of the company for which he works. A simple electronic magnet to draw back the lock hatch. Once inside, my silent solvent shall melt the safe door, and then... But as he opens the door to enter, alarms scream, sirens blare, and lights illuminate the entire plant. Startled, Professor Kasoff barely escapes in time. Back in his room. That was close. I know now the hitch in my plans. I can develop the means of executing perfect crimes, but I have no basic criminal experience. Any experienced burglar would have known how to cope with that alarm. I must find the criminals to work with me, to supply me with the criminal knowledge I lack. But how? One can't advertise with such a partner. How can I find him? Thus the professor begins to haunt the criminal dives of the city's slums, searching for the men he needs to foster his criminal career. Pardon me, but I was looking for a member of the underworld to take into partnership and... What's with this guy? Some kind of nut? Get lost, chum. Which brings us up to the moment when the Human Torch enters the scene. No, you don't. Come back here. That's the answer. Oh, that's the answer. It'll make the underworld come to me, begging to work with me. By doing the one thing no one else has ever done before. I shall defeat the Human Torch. It should be the simplest thing in the world for a man of my genius to find a way to defeat the Torch. But I must plan this well. First, I shall find a place on the outskirts of town where I can be completely isolated. The brooding scientist soon finds the place he needs, an old castle, far from any other habitation, yet in a rural area close to town. I'll give you a real goodbye on this place, confidentially. It's been nothing but a headache to me. Nobody'll come near it because the folks say it's haunted. We're thinking of tearing it down. I do not believe in ghosts, except the ghost of lost opportunity. It is just what I want. Professor Kasoff immediately sets up his laboratory, anxious to begin his work on the most ambitious project of his career, the total defeat of the Human Torch. The Torch's power is fire. Therefore, all I have to do is find a way to nullify that power and become impervious to it. And how better to achieve that object than through the medium of the greatest flame-resistant material, asbestos. Super asbestos, chemically made from chrysolite, calcium, and iron, my own exclusive formula. And how to fashion a suit from the heavy sheets, armor against flame, and a shield of iron to deflect the Torch's potent fireballs. With this net fashioned of skin-covered nitrogen strands, I'm ready. I shall become the Asbestos Man. 2 days later, at the home of Sue Storm and her teenage brother. Letter for you, Johnny. Toss it here, sis. Wonder who it's from. Why don't you open it and find out? Now, why didn't I think of that? To the cowardly Human Torch, I challenge you to contest. You have never dared to face a foe so strong as I, and so I dare you. and suddenly two of the most famed humans on Earth enter the room. "Call me a coward, will he?" "Hall." "Hey, hothead, what's bugging you now, kid?" "Here, fellas, read this. It'll make that guy wish he never learned how to write letters. Is this an address on that note? I can't wait to pay that phony a little visit." "Calm down, Johnny. Maybe it's just a gag, although it looks genuine enough. Anyway, you can't go around accepting the challenge of every crackpot looking for cheap publicity. If you're just looking for a little exercise, kiddo, I'll be glad to oblige you." "Well, maybe you're right. I know I am. Well, we're going to work on our income tax report with Sue. See you later, kid, and don't let those notes bother you." Glad I don't have to work on that dull tax jazz with him. As for this note, that's funny. The sheet doesn't burn. Looks like paper, but it must be something else. Of course, sent by the Asbestos man. It must be made of asbestos. It proves something, too. The Asbestos man isn't a fake. Let's see what my chemistry book says about asbestos. Yeah, it gives people cancer. But asbestos is the fibrous form of several minerals. Hydrosilicates of magnesium. Crystallite, a fibrous variety of the mineral. Serpentine, calcium and iron, mined in rocks. Synthetic forms, heck. There's the phone. Ring. "This is the Asbestos man. I presume you received my letter and are, at the moment, filled with the sensation of fear. I don't blame you, Torch, if you are afraid to face me." "Oh yeah? Listen, I'm not afraid of you or anybody else, but I don't go around fighting with everyone who challenges me. No excuses for your cowardice, please. Although you can depend on this. I shall challenge you publicly this time and time again, until you are forced to admit your cowardice to the world, or fight me and be defeated." "Defeated? Why, you... Listen, I'll fight you any time, any place." "Then come alone to the old castle on Thorn Road. I'll be waiting for you at 10 o'clock tonight, unless you turn coward by then and do not appear." "Don't worry, wise guy. I'll be there." My plan is beginning to take shape. Now to call the press so that the underworld may read of the Torch's defeat. That night, after sneaking out of the house so his partners in adventure wouldn't ask any questions, the Torch arrives at the old castle. Hey, maybe it was a fake after all. It sure doesn't look as though anyone's lived here in years. But I'll be ready anyhow. But then, suddenly, from out of the shadows, a fearsome, strangely garbed figure appears. "Now, Human Torch, you meet your master, the Asbestos man. Your incendiary fire stream cannot damage my asbestos shield. I merely deflect it. What else do you have to offer, my flaming friend?" "I was hoping you'd ask, pal. Just watch." Swiftly, the Torch generates all the firepower at his command, shooting at a powerful barrage of controlled heat at his smirking foe. "Is that the best you can do? Ha! You are blazing like an inferno, but it affects me not at all." "Gosh, I didn't think anything could withstand the intense heat I can generate for short periods of time." Desperate now, the Torch flames upward, bombarding the Asbestos man with bullet-like fireballs. "Let's see how you handle a few hot pitches, one after the other." "Easily. I merely catch them in my nitrogen strand net. And do you know what happens when nitrogen comes into contact with heat elements? They become veritable bombs, my fiery friend. Explosives to bring you down so that you fall. "I'm losing strength, stunned by the explosions. He used my own fireballs to bring me down. My flame is getting weaker." "That's it. Fall to the ground onto an ancient trapdoor, which is operated by this lever. And so you plunge downward into a hidden moat below, filled with a chemical of my own, to quench your flame, leaving you totally helpless." "He did it! What a story! The Asbestos man defeats the Human Torch." "I got the pics to prove it. This'll be sensational. We ought to get a bonus for this scoop." "You are defeated, Torch, defeated. This is my purpose, and only this. Swim to the end of the moat, and you will find a door through which you can escape. Go, and remember the Asbestos man as your superior, the one individual who can always defeat you, and I might add with ease." Slowly, the defeated teenager climbs through the moat exit. Bewildered, defeated, his heart a dull, heavy thing within him, he returns home in the night, thankful for the darkness that hides his humiliation. I'm glad the others aren't around to see me this way. The asbestos man makes me look like a kid playing with fire. I still can't understand what happened. Worn out in a pitiful mood of shame and frustration, the Torch eventually falls into a troubled sleep. It is morning when he awakens to look up into the impassioned eyes of his sister, Sue. It's in the newspapers. Headlines all over them. About what happened last night, Johnny. The others want to know if you want our help. Think it over while I get you some breakfast. I'm not hungry, Sue, and I don't want any help. All right. Tell me what happened. Meanwhile, I'll turn on the radio and see what they have to say about it. And so the Torch was beaten for the first time. I've just been handed a special bulletin. A few minutes ago, criminals caught by the Torch in the jewel robbery and thought it to be part of Blackie Barker's gang, while on the way to prison, were rescued by the Asbestos man. I knew it! He is a criminal. I gotta smash him. And without help from anyone else. My reputation, everything I stand for, is at stake. Look, Johnny, tell me everything that happened. Maybe we can find a way. Then, while the Torch tells the story of his defeat to his sister, in his castle, the Asbestos man is congratulated by a new partner. I gotta hand it to you, Asbestos. The cops put me through a grilling about that robbery, but they didn't have any evidence. When I left the DA, I saw the papers tell me how you defeated the Torch, and I knew right away you and me had to be partners. Boss, they know he sprung us, and they know he hangs out here. The Torch will be here before you know it. Be calm, my friend. I have many exits prepared by which we can leave at the first sign of police. Now let's sit down and plan our next little endeavor. I like your style, Asbestos. We're gonna go places, you and me. Got any ideas for a caper? Yes, indeed, many ideas. We'll begin with the Star National Bank. Boss, you should have seen those cops' bullets bounce off him. The suit he wears is like armor, and it must be inches thick. So the thieves gather and plan, while the Torch finishes his embarrassing recital. Johnny, you were depending on your flame alone. Don't you see? You used it as a direct weapon, and when its power was nullified, you were lost. Well, what else could I do? Nobody can tell me how to fight. I've been in enough battles to know how to use my flame for the best advantage. Use your head, boy. Think. You can still beat the Asbestos man, but you can't do it by a direct attack. Hey, sis, you're right. Now I see what you're getting at. Wow, what a chowderhead I was. Let me at him again. This time I'll use my head, as well as my flame. Tell the others not to worry, Sue. This inning's going to be mine. Good luck, little brother. I'm sure you can beat him. Flame on! I know that my flame can't pierce the Asbestos man's suit. I know that he's impervious to fire. But the world around him isn't. And that's how I'll defeat him, by using my flame on everything that surrounds him. Look, the Human Torch! I've come back, Asbestos man, and this time the results are going to be different. Stop, you fool! Your bullets will do you no good. They'll melt before they can reach him. Okay. Then it's up to you. He wants to fight to the finish, give it to him. You beat him once, so this time make it stick. Finish him for good. It was folly to return, Torch. What will it be first? Fireballs? Sheets of flame? They did you no good before, and they won't now. Fireballs first, playmate, but not so you can catch them in your nitrogen net. Instead, try a fast one for size, to hit the iron handle of your net and melt it. Clever. You deprive me of my net, but that will do you no good. Your flame is still nothing to me. It cannot harm me in any way. You're living in a fool's paradise, pal. You think of yourselves as an untouchable island in that asbestos suit. Not true. Every man is affected by the things around him, as I'm going to demonstrate. See what I mean? Yes, I see. And I, too, have weapons other than asbestos. This is a flask of special solvent that will melt anything if it touches, even steel. And your flesh and flame are not steel, Human Torch. But it won't touch me. I'll melt the bottle in midair, turn the solvent into harmless liquid with my flame, The floor around under your feet isn't asbestos. All around you, Asbestos Man, is the world that can be affected by flame. See? Before the Asbestos Man can move away, the floor under his feet, melted through by the torch's flame, gives way, and the defeated criminal plummets downward to fall, stunned, to the room below. Fire consumes oxygen, and without oxygen, a man can't breathe, even an Asbestos Man. I'm surrounding you with fire, a cage of flame that will eat up the oxygen around you. Give up, do you hear me? Give up! I give up. You win. Short time later, he confessed that he tried his asbestos gimmick so he could defeat you, and that way get the other criminals to team up with him. Well, he certainly succeeded in that. He'll team up with lots of criminals behind bars. Remember, Professor, you can never play with fire without getting burned. In the end. So this is a Doctor Strange story. So Doctor Strange mastered black magic. Story Stan Lee, art Steve Ditko, lettering Terry Sesniks. Now I should say, this doesn't come back. The Doctor Strange story doesn't come back until issue number 115. For some reason, there was like a hiatus where they didn't make a Doctor Strange story, so this is the last one for a while. So yeah, when I get to Strange Tales number 115, I'll read the next one, the next Doctor Strange story. But men call him Doctor Strange and speak his name in whispers, but there is another, one who is still more dreaded. In this tale of the occult, you are about to meet Doctor Strange's arch foe, the dreaded Baron Mordo. In a heavily guarded hidden castle in the hearts of Europe, the most dangerous menace of our time stands alone in his darkened chamber and broods. Only one man knows more secrets of black magic than I do, and he is the one who taught me years ago. He is the Master. So that's the Ancient One. They haven't called him the Ancient One yet. But the time has come for me to wrest those secrets from him, for it is I, Baron Mordo, who must be the most powerful magician of all. Once I have conquered the Master, then I need never again fear the wrath of my arch-foe, Doctor Strange, for I shall be stronger than he, and so it is time for me to enter a trance once again. Later, thousands of miles away, in the Master's study, somewhere in Tibet. Good. He is too deep in thought to sense my presence. My spirit image is free to roam about until I can find, the one I seek, his servant preparing the Master's meal. He is powerless to resist my mental commands. He must obey the orders of Baron Mordo. I must prepare powerful potion, put it in Master's food. I cannot fail. I shall achieve the impossible, victory over the Master. Minutes later. So it is done. I have been betrayed. My food was tampered with. Too late, Master. Baron Mordo has beaten you. It is useless to resist. My potion has weakened you too much. Your powers cannot be used against me. Mordo, my old student, you dare do this? Baron Mordo dares anything. And now your most closely guarded secrets of black magic. Tell them to me, or I shall allow my potion to make you weaker, and weaker until... No, never! You must, unless you do as I say. My potion will drain away all your strength, your very life itself. Speak, while there is still time. Never! But somewhere on Earth there is another who is as mighty as Mordo. In a heavily draped room in North America we find the omnipotent Doctor Strange. I have completed my latest black magic experiment. It's time for me to contact the Master and tell him the results. This is odd. There is no response from the enchanted amulet. It can mean only one thing. The Master is in terrible jeopardy. Deeply concerned over the Master's safety, Doctor Strange enters a trance immediately, as the spirit image streaks for Tibet with the speed of thought. And so, Baron Mordo, I might have known. You,
This time you are too late, Strange. I shall defeat you too. No longer are we the Master's obedient students. Now we possess the occult powers ourselves, and I have the power to destroy you. For years I have tried to warn him about you. I always suspected that you would use your own power for evil, but you shall never triumph over me. Without the Master to help you, I am your superior, as you shall now learn, and you shall pay for this lesson with your life. The Master had hoped we'd both follow in his footsteps, doing good for mankind. What changed you, Mordo? Bah! You are a weakling. Why would I help men, when you might rule them? This is why the secrets of black magic have been so closely guarded through the ages, because in the wrong hands it could menace all mankind. Once I have conquered your spirit image, your actual body will perish too. Then the world will be mine. Never will a breath remains within me.
And as the two spirit forms battle with inhuman intensity, the aged master manages to mutter one syllable over and over again.
He's trying to tell me something. But what? Wait, of course, the amulet. I can transmit pure energy through the amulet. It will weaken me, but it might save the Master. I must concentrate. Inward. The power of my thought must flow through the all-seeing eye.
And then slowly, inexorably, the magic eye opens as a wave of pure energy shines forth, bathing the Master in its life-giving glow.
I feel the strength returning to my brain, to my limbs. The strain was too great. My power is sapped. I'm growing weak. Curse you, Strange. You saved the Master, but you have forfeited your own life. For now, weak as you are, you cannot resist me. Hold on, Strange. Just a little longer.
Summoning all his remaining strength in one last desperate move, Dr. Strange manages to catch Baron Mordo unawares and hurl his transform away from him.
Your final efforts to survive will not help you. I still hold all the cards.
Not so, Mordo. There is a way. My enchanted amulet can transmit its energy to wherever your mortal body may be. It shall find it, and prevent you from ever returning to it again.
Never! I am stronger than you, stronger than your amulet. I shall reach it first.
Unseen by human eyes, the two mighty spirit images race through time and space. But Baron Mordo reaches his goal just seconds ahead of his weakened foe.
I have beaten you. I am in control of my mortal form. You cannot harm me now. But you are at my mercy. My physical form is more powerful than the trance image. You cannot escape me now.
I do not desire to escape you.
You mean you surrender, Strange?
Just the opposite, Mordo. I have won. The Master is safe. You blundered into my trap. My amulet did not have the power to lead me here, but you did, in your panic. Now with you in your mortal form, your hypnotic control over the Master's servant is ended. Even now the Master is being cared for by his servant. His full strength is returned, and the power of my amulet will hold you motionless, so I can be safely gone.
Bah, this is but a temporary victory for you, Strange. I'll never rest till I have destroyed you. You and the Master.
And once again, in the presence of the Master,
You have done well, Strange. How ironic that of both my pupils, only one fulfilled his promise, while the other, Baron Mordo, threatens us as long as he lives.
It may not be much longer, Master, for I feel that death waits for one of us, the one who loses the next encounter. The mystic arts of black magic are older than the memory of man. In time to come, let us peer behind the enchanted veil together. More of the occult adventures of Dr. Strange will appear in a future issue of Strange Tales, so number 115 is the next one. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, that'd be appreciated. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.